All right, we eat tonight.
Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3.
A cartoon that began in 1989 has gained a reputation for predicting the future with uncanny accuracy. The Simpsons famously showed Donald Trump as president 16 years before it happened, and they also hinted at technologies like smartwatches, video calls, and even specific sporting outcomes. But some of their most unsettling predictions touch on society itself. Recent episodes portray breakdowns eerily similar to today's headlines, from AI rebellion to economic collapse, making many wonder if the jokes carry something darker beneath the humor. One striking example dates back to 1994, when an episode called Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song showed lunch lady Doris preparing food from a barrel labeled assorted horse parts, now with more testicles. At the time, it was just a gag about bad cafeteria food, but nearly 2 decades later, Europe faced a real horse meat scandal. In 2013, tests revealed that products labeled as beef were secretly mixed with horse meat, sparking outrage and recalls across the UK, Ireland, and France. Suddenly, that old Simpsons joke felt like a grim foreshadowing. Another case came from the 1990 episode 2 Cars in Every Garage and 3 Eyes on Every Fish. Bart caught a mutated fish, Blinky, with 3 eyes near the nuclear power plant. It symbolized pollution and radiation, a joke back then. But in 2011, a fisherman in Argentina pulled a real 3-eyed fish from waters near a nuclear facility. More unusual fish with extra eyes turned up in New York in later years, making many believe the Simpsons had once again tapped into something disturbingly real. Then there's their uncanny take on autocorrect. In the 1994 episode Lisa on Ice, the school bully used Apple's early digital assistant, the Newton. He tried to write Beat Up Martin, but it misread his handwriting as Eat Up Martha. Years later, autocorrect fails became a universal frustration with smartphones, and Apple engineers even admitted that Eat Up Martha became a reminder to perfect their software. Still, decades later, autocorrect mishaps remain a daily irritation. The show also brushed against censorship debates. In the 1990 episode Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, Springfield residents tried to censor Michelangelo's David by covering the statue's nudity. Marge ultimately defended the artwork, recognizing it as culture rather than indecency. More than 25 years later, in 2016, the same controversy played out in St. Petersburg, Russia, when some citizens demanded that a copy of David be covered. Just like in Springfield, the debate exposed how censorship often shifts depending on personal values. Over the decades, The Simpsons has blurred the line between parody and prediction. While its writers insist it's all just comedy, the parallels between Springfield's gags and real-world events leave audiences unsettled, wondering if the cartoon isn't just reflecting society, but somehow glimpsing its future. It got so serious that a public vote was eventually held, and in the end, the statue of Michelangelo's David was left as it was. But the fact that people were having the exact same argument so many years later felt like life was imitating the cartoon. Another striking case came on February 14, 2010, when The Simpsons aired an episode where Homer and Marge joined the U.S. Olympic curling team at the Vancouver Winter Olympics. In the show, the pair helped Team USA win the gold medal in curling, beating Sweden for the top spot. At the time, it was just a funny storyline because the U.S. had only ever won one Olympic medal in curling, a bronze in 2006, and winning gold seemed like a stretch. But 8 years later, in 2018, the real U.S. men's curling team shocked the world by winning Olympic gold in Pyeongchang, against Sweden in the final, just as in the cartoon. Fans who remembered the old episode were stunned at how closely reality followed fiction, moment by moment. While writers later explained they were simply playing off curling's rising popularity, the accuracy of the prediction felt like more than coincidence. The show's foresight extended to global sports scandals as well. On March 30, 2014, an episode aired where Homer became a referee at the World Cup. The story highlighted widespread corruption within FIFA, with officials taking bribes, and even one being arrested during the tournament. At that time, FIFA's shady reputation was mostly whispered about, but nothing concrete had surfaced. Then, in May 2015, the FBI and IRS launched a massive investigation that exposed FIFA's darkest secrets. Top officials were arrested in Zurich, charged with bribery, racketeering, and money laundering. The headlines mirrored the Simpsons episode almost exactly, down to an official being led away in handcuffs. That same episode also showed Germany winning the World Cup. Though the cartoon had Germany beating Brazil in the final, reality wasn't far off. Germany demolished Brazil 7-1 in the semifinals before going on to win the 2014 World Cup against Argentina. Once again, the overlap between the cartoon's script and reality was uncanny. The Simpsons even brushed against the Greek debt crisis years before it unfolded. In a 2012 episode, Politica, LA inept with Homer Simpson, a ticker joke scrolled across the screen during Homer's rant. Europe puts Greece on eBay. At the time, it seemed like a throwaway gag. But by June 2015, Greece defaulted on a massive loan to the IMF, becoming the first developed nation to do so. Panic spread worldwide as Greece's financial system crumbled under austerity, unemployment, and economic collapse. Though Greece wasn't literally being auctioned off online, the idea of a country stripped down piece by piece suddenly rang true. The once joking line now captured the essence of a nation on the edge. Perhaps most shocking of all was a discovery from the 1998 episode The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, where Homer dreamed of becoming an inventor like Thomas Edison. In one scene, he stood before a chalkboard scrawled with random equations meant to show his cluelessness. Years later, physicists examining the chalkboard realized that one of Homer's nonsense equations closely approximated the real calculation for the mass of the Higgs boson, the so-called God particle theorized in the 1960s, but not confirmed until 2012. The idea that a throwaway gag in a cartoon came so close to predicting one of science's biggest discoveries left fans and scientists alike astonished. Time and again, The Simpsons has turned what looked like absurd comedy into unsettling glimpses of the future. Whether through curling gold medals, FIFA scandals, economic collapse, or even particle physics, the line between satire and prophecy has never felt thinner. Scientists at CERN finally confirmed the existence of the Higgs boson in 2012, earning the Nobel Prize in Physics the following year. But The Simpsons had scribbled a close estimate of it in a throwaway gag 14 years earlier. One of the writers, David X. Cohen, had studied physics and computer science, and even enlisted his physicist friend David Sheminovich to make the chalkboard look realistic. While they were probably working with educated guesses circulating in academic circles at the time, the accuracy was uncanny, so much so that even Time magazine joked The Simpsons had discovered the Higgs boson before anyone else. The show's pop culture predictions were just as striking. In May 2012, the episode Lisa Goes Gaga showed Lady Gaga flying over a crowd, suspended by cables, wearing a shiny silver outfit, sparks shooting from her bra, and even playing a keytar midair. It was meant as parody, exaggerating her already wild performances. But in February 2017, during the Super Bowl halftime show, Gaga descended from the stadium roof in a glittering outfit, floating in on cables in front of millions of viewers. The similarity to the cartoon was so close that Gaga herself admitted it gave her chills. The 2007 Simpsons movie also foreshadowed something much darker: mass surveillance. In one scene, Marge reassures Lisa that the government isn't listening to everybody's conversations, only for the film to cut to a massive building where NSA agents are monitoring calls in real time. It seemed like pure satire. But in 2013, Edward Snowden revealed classified documents showing that the NSA had, in fact, been secretly collecting data on millions of people's phone calls and internet activity. The revelation shocked the world, and that once joking scene suddenly felt like an eerie warning. Even more unsettling was an episode from January 2006 called Homer's Paternity Coot. In it, Homer joins a treasure-hunting father figure on an undersea mission using small submarines. His sub gets stuck, communication cuts off, oxygen runs low, and he nearly dies before a last-minute rescue. 17 years later, in June 2023, the Titan submersible tragedy struck. 5 passengers were killed when the vessel imploded while diving to the Titanic wreck. A Simpsons writer later admitted he had personally experienced communication failures on previous Titan dives, making the episode's similarities feel chilling in hindsight. Unlike Homer's adventure, reality had no happy ending. Then there was the bizarre case of black market grease. In the 1998 episode Lard of the Dance, Homer discovered that used fryer grease could be sold for cash. He and Bart began stealing grease from restaurants and even the school cafeteria until groundskeeper Willie, also a grease thief, caught them. The absurd premise seemed like pure cartoon nonsense. Yet by the late 2000s, used cooking oil or yellow grease had become highly valuable due to the rise of biofuels. Real-life thieves started siphoning it from fast food chains, sometimes stealing thousands of gallons in the dead of night. What had once been a ridiculous cartoon scheme had once again slipped into reality. Restaurants used to dump their old cooking oil into back alley dumpsters, but soon thieves began sneaking in at night to siphon it out. By 2008, even the New York Times was reporting on the bizarre crime, with one man caught stealing 300 gallons of fryer oil from a Burger King. While many people laughed at the absurdity, police and restaurant owners weren't amused. By the 2010s, grease theft had become so widespread that it was costing businesses up to $75 million a year. The term grease bandit, which sounded like something out of a cartoon, was suddenly appearing in real police reports. What once felt like a silly Homer Simpson subplot had somehow become a thriving black market crime. Another eerie prediction came in the form of rampant virtual reality addiction. In Season 28, Episode 2, which aired on October 2nd, Mr. Burns got hold of a high-tech VR headset and used it to create a fake family that existed only inside the device. At first it seemed harmless, but soon he refused to interact with real people, preferring the digital world instead. The Simpsons themselves tried on the headsets and became lost inside virtual spaces. Even earlier, in the 2000 episode Bart to the Future, an adult Bart was shown miserable and alone, hiding behind a VR visor to escape his life. While these episodes were intended as satire, they carried a clear warning. Replacing real connections with fake ones could be dangerous. At the time, VR was still science fiction to most people, but by the mid-2020s, virtual reality and augmented reality had become part of daily life. The metaverse took off, with kids and adults spending endless hours in games, virtual concerts, and online shopping malls. Big tech companies kept releasing more immersive and addictive headsets, with Apple launching its own Vision Pro in 2023. By 2025, researchers were warning that excessive VR use could lead to digital addiction and social isolation, with some people forgetting how to function outside of their devices. Marge's gentle reminder that it's fine to play in virtual worlds, but not to forget the real one feels far more urgent now. VR has shifted from being a novelty to a force shaping how people live, work, and escape, exactly as The Simpsons predicted. The show also anticipated the darker side of robotics. In the 1994 episode Itchy and Scratchy Land, The Simpsons visit a theme park filled with lifelike robot characters. At first, everything seems fun until the machines malfunction and begin attacking the guests, turning the park into chaos. The Simpsons only survive by using camera flashes to disable the robots. At the time, it was a goofy parody of science fiction, but today it feels more like a warning. By 2023, artificial intelligence had advanced to writing articles, driving cars, and playing chess better than most humans. That same year, a chess robot even grabbed a young boy's finger and broke it during a match. It wasn't an act of malice, just a malfunction, but it was a stark reminder that technology we trust can also cause harm. Homer's sarcastic line, "Nothing can possibly go wrong," now sounds eerily like the blind faith many people place in new technologies without considering the risks. As 2026 approaches, the question lingers, have we rushed too far into AI and robotics without thinking about the consequences? Another prescient moment came in 1995 with the episode Lisa the Vegetarian. After bonding with a lamb at a petting zoo, Lisa refuses to eat meat and struggles to explain her choice to her family. Homer is baffled, even throwing a barbecue that ends with a roasted pig flying comically into the sky. Beneath the humor, however, the episode hinted at a deeper issue. How to feed a growing global population without destroying the environment. By 2025, concerns about food security had become urgent, with rising prices and shortages in some parts of the world. Animal farming consumes massive amounts of land, water, and energy, while also generating greenhouse gases. Experts now stress that shifting toward plant-based diets could help fight climate change and reduce the risk of food crises. Lisa's seemingly small decision in 1995 looks visionary today. In one touching scene, Apu shows her a secret rooftop garden, suggesting that individuals can take steps to grow their own food and live more sustainably. That quiet moment feels more relevant than ever as humanity faces mounting challenges in food, water, and climate. Looking back, The Simpsons may have been a comedy, but it often served as a mirror of the future. Through jokes and exaggeration, it highlighted real issues long before the world took them seriously. In 1994, it joked about rogue robots. In 1995, it warned about the environmental cost of meat consumption. In 2000 and 2016, it hinted at the dangers of virtual reality and disconnection from real life. Now in 2025, those once far-fetched ideas feel startlingly real. The only difference is that back then, it was a cartoon, but today, it's the world we live in.